Hey everyone, today's mini lecture is about the believing and doubting reading strategy. So with the believing and doubting reading strategy, you're going to look at a text. You can actually do this with a movie, a book, anything that you consider a text. It could be non-traditional text as well. Some art, perhaps. And what you do is you're going to, this is also known as reading with the grain or reading against the grain. So you're going to read something and then you're going to think of all the reasons you could believe it and think of all the reasons you might not believe it, you might doubt it. So reading with the grain is when you believe something. You know how if you pet an animal and you pet them against their fur backwards, that's against the grain, right? You know how they don't like it and you don't like it really either. So that's how it's easy to remember. Reading against the grain is doubting what you've read. Reading with the grain is believing what you've read. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little example. I'm going to use a passage from this week's extra reading, Sherman Alexie's Superman and Me. A little Indian boy teaches himself to read at an early age and advances quickly. He reads Grapes of Wrath in kindergarten when other children are struggling through Dick and Jane. So now that I've read you the passage, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start out by doubting. See, for this particular passage, I tend to believe it. So I think it's easier if you try to do the one you're not feeling first. So Sherman Alexie is an amazing person. I tend to believe what he says. So I'm going to say, let me try not doing the doubting first, doing the not believing, the against the grain first. So I'm going to just jot down, I'm going to brainstorm any reasons I would have for not believing that passage about him reading the Grapes of Wrath in kindergarten, which, by the way, the Grapes of Wrath is a book by John Steinbeck that's probably 400, 500 pages long. Dick and Jane, on the other hand, I'll stick a photo here. There it is. Dick and Jane was a first grade reader. I don't know if you also had to read Dick and Jane, but as you can see, it's not very inclusive. Anyway, and it was boring. I remember that. Ugh, hated reading those. See Spot Run, Run Spot Run. Ugh. Anyway, so I've read this passage. Now I'm going to come up with all the reasons I have for not believing what he says. I'm going to jot them down. I'll say them out loud while I'm jotting them down, and then I'll show you the whole thing. So I'm going to start with doubting. And I doubt that this is true that he read this book because why would a 5-year-old read such a huge and adult book? Why would he be interested? Let's see, what are some other reasons that I could not believe that I would have for doubting this? Why would 5-year-old read such a huge and adult book? Why would he be interested in it? Can he even understand what it's about? How can a 5-year-old understand the Great Depression? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that covers it. Okay. I mean, there should be some others, but it's hard. Let me go with believing. Okay? So believing is easier. Do you see why you got to start with the harder one? Or I don't know. Maybe if you go with the one you know you want first, you'll think of some other reasons. So I'm going to go with believing now. And what causes me to believe this story that he read The Grapes of Wrath? A really intense book, you guys. It's about people moving from Oklahoma to California during the Great Depression because of the Dust Bowl, and all the struggles they go through. So it's not a happy-go-lucky fun book, and I do wonder how he would even kind of understand what's going on. Maybe the human drama? Okay, so I believe he would be interested in the human drama. He would be interested in the human drama. He probably could read books with that kind of vocabulary. He says he's arrogant, so maybe he was showing off. I mean, you can read something and not really get it, right? Like, you could read it and get parts of it, but there could be stuff you don't get that much of. So he could have just been showing off, and yeah, he knows all the words. It's one thing to know the words, it's another to understand what they mean, like what the overall message is, which he may have. He was smart. He said he was a prodigy, right? So he says he's arrogant, may have read to show off. I guess on the doubting side, how come no one seems to notice? Or maybe I just should say no one seems to notice. That seems weird, right? If your 4 or 5-year-old is reading this huge novel, you'd think you would notice. He says he's arrogant. He may have read to show off. Let's see, what else does he say? He taught himself to read. I totally don't doubt that. Absolutely, like 95% sure he probably did teach himself to read. Okay. Let's see. And other kindergartners. Definitely, do struggle. Okay. All right. I don't know if that's even necessary. Okay. So I'm going to show you a quick, actually I'm going to show you. And that's it for Believing and Doubting today.